Michelle Graves, your host on The Power of Money, and I'm honored to have you as a part of my world in this coming segment. With The Power of Money, as you know, we are interested in three things. First, that you get the necessary education so that you and your family will have the information to do well in these difficult times. The second thing I'm interested in is for you to be empowered to prosper. I want only the best for you, but you can't get that if you don't have the education and then the drive to make it happen. And the final thing, and perhaps the most important thing, is that you be energized. Because life is more than a journey. Life is about living. And so I want you to learn these things and to be empowered and encouraged and energized. I'm Michelle Graves. Now here we go.
And welcome to today's segment of The Power of Money. I'm your host, Michelle Graves. And as always, I've had the distinct pleasure of being a part of your world, because you say so, for over 30 years, known as the Money Lady. And so, as always, I'm honored and privileged to have just extraordinary and exceptional guests on the show to empower, encourage you and your family members. And again, March is honoring women, and I have in the studio on set a phenomenal woman. I'm just delighted that she was willing to come on and to share her life, her achievements, and her story, that it can be of an encouragement for so many of you that are watching that are women, and also for a lot of you guys too, to let you know that there have always been achievers of the female genre. And my guest today is the Reverend Ann Everson-Price. She resides in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I'm going to give you a little bit of background before going into this interview.
I was just wondering who you were talking about. Talking about this phenomenal, and it's like, who's she talking about? All right, okay, go ahead.
Be quiet.
All right, go ahead.
Anyway, she's my friend, and I want to do this right. Okay, so she's the CEO and founder of the Saints Entertainment, producing gospel and Christian events, and PANN Entertainment, where she does producing wedding receptions, award shows, and corporate events. Just in terms of some of her many, many acknowledgments, I'm going to say the most powerful presentment that I had a chance to be a part of, to watch. She recently received President Barack Obama's President's Lifetime Achievement Service Award for just a life of contribution. It's the highest honor bestowed upon a citizen for their contribution to our nation. I was honored to be amongst her well-wishers for that honor. It was profound, and it was so richly deserved. She's, of course, been involved in Broadway productions. She's also, for 19 years, and this is something that many people may not know, but she served as director and mentor for young people each week between the ages of 5 and 25 years of age, as the director and founder of the Cincinnati Super Choir. And let me just share with you, if you've not heard them, boy, you're missing out on something, because they are amazing, and they honor her, and because she is a perfectionist in her art, they do well, very well.
Some people call that just being bossy, but okay, I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. She has also worked for and been advisor to Cincinnati Ballet Symphony Orchestra. She's opened for gospel singer Kirk Franklin, and has sang twice for then Senator Barack Obama. One of her distinguishers, again, is she holds a record for being the first African-American female with a salary position as host of a Midday Gospel program on an R&B station in Cincinnati, Ohio. Celebrates 34 years in broadcasting, and is currently the radio host of the Midday Show, 3 to 6 p.m. on Cincinnati's only 24-hour urban gospel station, 1050 a.m. and 103.1 FM. On the personal side, she's a wife and mother to 3 grown children. She's nana to 8 beautiful grandchildren, And if you can believe it, she has 3 great-grandchildren. And I must say, I didn't even know the 3 great-grandchildren because she is just such an effervescent personality. Her testimony is that I am living my dream and God continues to bless my life. The incomparable, incredible, off-the-chart Reverend PANN Everson-Price.
Illustrious friend of the money lady, Michelle Graves. God continues to bless my life because I'm here on your set, darling.
Where do we begin with a woman like yourself?
Extremely blessed, just a woman who's blessed.
We say that, but for many, and people use that term. They use that term often. And I say that with no disrespect intended to you or anyone else. People say, I'm blessed, I'm blessed.
No, I'm really blessed.
But tell.
I'm blessed with 2 exclamation marks. I'm blessed. As you mentioned, my mom, we celebrated her 95th birthday.
That is extraordinary.
On this Sunday. I am blessed.
95
because my mom is still
years
here with
old.
me and still bossy, still running things, and will still call you up on the phone and say, where you at and how come you haven't been over here today? She's still very bossy. I come from a long line of bossy women. I can't wait to be like her when I grow up.
Gonna say.
I am blessed, as you mentioned when we were at the birthday party.
Yeah.
I was holding my latest little great grandbaby.
Oh my
and
God.
I have 4 because Amber married a gentleman who has a son. So we have 4 great grandbabies. And to be able to sit there at that party while I'm holding my great grandbaby, while Amber is standing next to her, while my son is standing next to her, and then my mom is sitting next to him. It's like, look at all of these generations and look how God has allowed this circle to come around, to be at least enough in my right mind that I can say this is my great grandbaby and still know who I am.
Oh my goodness,
blessed.
yes.
And to have all of the family there, and I'll be celebrating 35 years in broadcasting. People still allow me the opportunity to come into their cars and their homes and their businesses after 35 years of doing this in October.
Amazing. I've known you for such a long time.
I'm telling you,
I'm just saying
blessed.
You've been such just an ever-presence in so many lives, and you'd be amazed at the impact that you have had on so many people's lives, because people need to have hope.
Yes.
They need to have hope. They need to believe that it can happen for me.
Exactly. If it happened for PANN, if she's serving 35 years in broadcasting, and she didn't go to broadcasting school.
That's important. That's
Did not.
amazing.
My girlfriend called me up and said, at the time it was WCIN, Cincinnati's only urban station, and she said they're looking to start a midday gospel program. Unheard of.
That was unheard. That was
Cincinnati.
unheard of.
If you played gospel in Cincinnati, you either did it very late at night when the signal was almost non-existent, or you did it early in the morning before anybody got up. But they were talking about doing gospel.
Yes.
Midday.
Yes.
In the midst
in the
of
middle.
R&B music.
Yes, never.
Been done before. She said, PANN, she said, if you go over there, they're going to give you that job. I bet her $5. They would not. I said, I'm not going to broadcasting school. I don't know anything about radio. So I went over there to purely collect on a bet.
Okay.
And I got there, Lincoln Ware.
Okay,
was there,
yes.
And he said, let's go back. So we looked at the knobs and everything that was in there. All I knew was how to turn it up, how to turn it down. And that was 35 years ago. But I went in with the motivation not to be just a gospel announcer. I wanted to be the best announcer.
And I think that's important. You wanted to be the best.
I didn't want to go in there and just use me for gospel. First of all, I'm up with the big boys. I'm at 12 o'clock. So I've got to be able to do the weather. Today it's going to be partly sunny, and tomorrow 76 degrees, but right now currently under sun-filled skies. I wanted to be able to say that. I didn't want to have to go in there and say, and today the rain is going to come. Because when you were gospel announcers, you were gospel all the time. You were preaching all the time. Well, I wanted to be able to go in there with the love of God in my heart, I wanted to go with an encouraging and an inspiring message.
Yes.
But I wanted to go in as a professional. And as a result of that, I went in starting at 12 noon. I had children, I had young people listening to my show in study hall because we would have the request hour. And they would call and they said, we're in study hall and we're listening. You say the babies are listening to me.
Yes, because that to me, the fact that you were able to intercept them.
We were able to merge that music, that genre of gospel and R&B. Because this was during the time when the Winans had just started. Tremaine Hawkins had just started with her Disco Fall Down on Me. Al Green would come on like a ship that's tossed and driven. And people be like, oh, I like that song, but they didn't know it was gospel.
Yes.
And by the time they realized it was gospel, I had them.
Oh, yeah.
I had them.
Oh,
so just to be able to segue the music so it didn't go from it didn't go from the Bar-Kays or it didn't go from Isaac Hayes into Mahalia Jackson.
Oh, yeah, that's
and people
too
had
much.
whiplash. It didn't do that.
Yeah.
They gave me the freedom. I'd never done radio, but they gave me the liberty to select my own music, my own playlist, so that it just meshed seamlessly. So I didn't go from R&B to, gospel coming on, let's turn it off. No, it went in so smooth, girl, they didn't know
that people
it was
didn't
gospel.
even know.
They did not know.
I love gospel music. It has
It's
kept me
encouraging.
alive. It has kept me alive.
It's inspiring, and music will transcend cultures. Music will transcend social, economic status. If you love music, I've sang in Japan at the foot of Mount Fuji. I did a wedding in the total Japanese garb. And I've sang at the foot of Mount Fuji, and I couldn't speak Japanese. And these people, most of them could not speak English. But this lady walked up to me, and she had tears coming down. And she said, your music. And she touched my hand. Yeah. Your music. And all she could do was touch
her heart.
Touch.
Because it does.
So when people cannot understand your language, they understand.
Yes.
And music does that. And music will speak to your heart. Music will speak to your circumstance. And I just thank God that I've had the opportunity to operate not just in gospel, R&B, blues. I mean, I've done radio, morning, drive time.
Yes.
FM stations, AM stations. I've been on radio maybe 7 days a week, and 3 of them were on 3 different stations.
That's something.
Who does that?
Who does that? But you know what I look at? Who allows you? That's what I'm saying. Who allows you, particularly as an African American female, unheard of. I'm just saying that.
No, they didn't pay you to do gospel.
No.
When I left WCIN that day, I left with a title of gospel director. They gave me some other things to do, and I left with a salary. A salary. I couldn't believe it myself. I called my girlfriend and said, yeah, they gave me a job. And they gave me a salary. And they gave me a title.
Oh, my God.
God is so good. God is so awesome. Never had happened before, and I don't think since then, even on an R&B station in 2018, you don't have Midday. You might have Russ Parr, you might have some of these other folks that are coming in on Morning Drive that are syndicated, but they're not locally here.
Right.
And if they are being paid a salary, they're paid a salary to do a whole lot of other stuff.
Of course they are, and I don't know, and I'm not so sure if what they're doing is on the same path as what you did. And I say that because there's a lot of kidding around and joking around to try to get people excited about the day ahead. But the truth of the matter is many people are in incredible pain.
We're all trying to make it.
And need someone to say just what you just said.
We're all
trying to make it. And many, they say, I'm blessed, but truthfully on the inside,
they're depressed.
They're depressed. And
they're going through the motions.
Yes.
I'm blessed. It's like, and I ask my grandkids, it's like, what did you do today? We sit at the dinner table and say, what did you do today to make your life more of what you want it to be? How did you make your life better? And what did you do to make someone else's life better? They're like 9 and 10.
Okay.
And Andre said, well, there was one of these kids, one guy in my room, and he didn't have anybody to play with. So we went out and played some basketball together. I said, so you showed yourself friendly.
Thank you.
He said, yeah. I said, that's good. That's good.
That's very
good.
And
I asked Alex, I said, what did you do? He said, it was this other little girl, and she came in the room, and she was just really, really mean. And I said, calm down. Calm down.
I know
it's
that's
going to be
okay.
So he's Mr. Philosopher.
Okay.
I said, so you were trying to show yourself friendly, not knowing what made her so irritable, but you were trying to be a friend to an unfriendly person. So just to even stress to my grandkids, life, somebody said it, life is what you make it.
It is what you make it.
And when you get up out of the bed in the morning, have you made up your mind, I'm going to make this day a happy one? Even if I have no control over what's going on in my life, we have control over how we're going to respond to it.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
So every day I wake up trying to figure out how can I glean some joy? How can I glean some happiness out of this day? I don't care if it is raining, if it's cloudy. I'm going to try to BYOS. I'm going to bring my own sunshine.
I like that. Bring your own sunshine.
Bring it on. Bring it on. And we all have something to be thankful for. I'm the funeral celebrant for J.C. Battle and Sons Funeral Home. And I try to remind people as we're doing 2 to 3 funerals every week, don't lose sight of the blessing. Yes, we're going to miss our beloved. Yes, there is a void. But guess what? God did not have to let that person even come this way.
Did not.
Yes, you're going to miss mama, but somebody doesn't even know what it's like to have a mother.
Exactly.
Somebody doesn't know what it's like to have family. Look around you and look at all of these people that have taken out from their busy day to come and be supportive of you and to honor your beloved.
Yes.
So sometimes I just feel it's my responsibility to remind all of us just how blessed we are.
And I think, and not only how blessed we are, but we must remain grateful. It's very important that no matter what circumstances we are going through, that we remember at all times to be grateful. Because as you know, in the funeral business, I'd rather be 10 feet above the earth than 10 feet below the earth.
That's my slogan every day when I'm on the radio.
Oh my gosh.
Any day you're on top of the world instead of the world on
top of you. Oh,
that's a good day.
That's a good day.
Because we can change some things. I can work some things out.
Yes, we can.
But once the world is on top of me, it is over. It's done. We all have a sunrise and a sunset. What you do with that dash between that sunrise and that sunset is left up to you. Are you going to bring some joy? Are you going to bring some encouragement? Are you going to help somebody along the way? What will they say about you when they when they hear that you have transitioned?
Right.
Will they say, oh, I'm going to miss her. Oh, my goodness, she encouraged me in so many ways. Or will they say good? Because they were mean and nasty. They were a despicable human being. You know, no, I don't want that to be said about me. But what I want to do is genuinely give, genuinely love, genuinely care about my brothers and my sisters. Because if we do that, everything else will fix itself.
I think it will. I think the most important commandment still is that we love God, and then secondly, that you love your neighbor as yourself. And that if you can get past you and begin to recognize that that other person is trying to get through this world as well, and that it's not easy. I mean, that's one of the things I look at young people and I get so excited because they haven't lived long enough to be ticked off.
Right.
Because now, and I look at someone like you, how did you get to this point in your life without being bitter?
God's grace.
Talk about that. What do you mean by that?
God's grace.
Because there's so much that has happened. We're in the month of women, and I had you on because you're such a powerful, humble woman in terms of who you are. And to the outside world, it looks like, oh my goodness, look at her, you know, dressed in red, no less, fire. But have you had down times?
As a minister of the word, God has given me the ministry of counseling to broken women. And that's
counseling to broken women.
That is amazing.
Whoa.
Even how that came. I'm a vocal coach.
Okay.
So I had women booking time to come because they thought they wanted to come for vocal coaching.
Okay.
But in the midst of vocal coaching, it's also my job to ask you, what do you see yourself doing 2 years from now? Do you see yourself on stage 2 years from now? Do you see yourself doing theater? Do you see yourself doing a project? Do you see yourself in Dollywood? Do you see yourself performing on a cruise? Or do you just want to sing to your husband? Or do you just want to lead a song at church one day when they manage to give you a song? And in the midst of the conversation, you will find out that women are going through things. I've had women to confide in me that they had a miscarriage because they found out their husband was having an affair, but they still been living in the same house with this man at maybe 10 years. And of the 10 years that they've been living since this whole incident happened, she's been in a daze. She's been working, but she's been depressed. She said, I can't even tell you how I got from that point to this point. And just numb. Just numb. And to be able to talk to that person and talk her through the pain, because she's never talked through the pain.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so
she's
that's
never
still
even
locked in.
Still in there.
Okay.
Still in there.
Okay.
And to be able to talk to her, talk her through the pain, talk her through acknowledging what is really bothering you, what you've held on to. Yes, you still hold him responsible for the death of your baby. You can't change that.
No.
But here are some of your options. Which one are you going to use? Which one are you going to utilize today? Because you've spent your 10 years in darkness where you don't know what's going on. You're fortunate that you didn't lose your job, okay? But you haven't been living. You've been existing.
Right,
You've
a
been,
corpse. She's a corpse.
She's just walking.
Yeah.
She's on an autopilot. So how do we help you get your groove back? How do we help you get your life back? How do we help you get the joy back? And when I talk, excuse me, to women like that, and they're women that have come to me and maybe their husband is going through an affair and she know he's going through an affair. He's told her he's going through an affair.
Oh my goodness,
and,
he's told her.
At 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm at her bedside at the hospital because her blood pressure has dropped because the stress is taking such a strain and a hold on her. She's about to die. And you let her know, honey, you have something to live for. You don't put all of your hope and your dreams in that, in him. I know that's your husband, but listen, baby, you got to live for you.
Thank you.
You got to live. You got to get up for you. You've got your children who are going to miss you. But a lot of times we put so much faith, so much hope, and it's not really the fault of the women. It's what our society has programmed us to believe. That you're going to get together, you're going to meet this guy, you're going to fall in love, and you're going to live happily ever after. That's the biggest crock of...
Isn't that just...
But nobody told us that. So we had to learn, we had to live and believe that if you're fortunate enough to have a partner and you all can find some things in common and you can produce a family or you can produce a business or you can coexist, and if you can get 70, 80% worth of joy out of that union, out of that partnership, you are ahead of millions. But never ever be foolish enough to believe that it's going to be 100% all the time, because it's not. We as women with money know that if you don't have money, if you don't have your own resources, a person, not just a man, people will treat you any kind of way. And you don't have any options to get out because, one, you don't have your own credit, you can't buy a car, you can't get a lease. Why? Because he's held you so tight, or she has held the purse strings that you have to live according to what they want for you. And if you ever get sick and tired, you've got to leave and start from scratch. And if you don't have family or a good friend, or if you don't have some of these agencies that will assist you and walk you through, you are at the whim of this abuser or this person who really is not hoping that you will live up to your full potential. You can have a husband, but you won't have a friend.
No, well, it sounds to me like jealousy and envy and all those things that become a part of that interface with another human being. They see in you what they don't have in themselves, and therefore they project onto you their own inadequacies.
Exactly.
Now, the reason that I think you have been such a profound influence is because, darling, you are just fabulous.
No, God is just fabulous.
But God is just fabulous because He deposited Himself in you. And you are out here as a living example of what women can do. And I say this, I've done a lot of things, but again, when I look at your story and I look at you raising children and continuing, and I mean raising children and being a self-focused woman is a challenge in and of itself.
It is.
I've been there.
It really is. And you, like the other women who have gone through the gambit of things, you have victories in your life.
Yeah.
And those small victories have led you to bigger victories. And that whole story that I've heard you share over and over again, your battle with cancer.
Oh my goodness.
And enduring that, and then birthing your daughter, who is just absolutely beautiful.
Oh, she is amazing.
So knowing that testimony, women like us, who have gone through some things, when you hear the phrase "no test, no testimony," it's because we've been tested. And we've had an opportunity to give up, just like many of our friends. I told myself I was going to have a nervous breakdown after my daughter got older. I said, you know, I've just got to have this baby. I've got to have a healthy baby. But my husband ran off and left me, and we were starting this business together. I had 2 other children, and I'm trying to be all that I can be. I'm standing in a food stamp line, 8 months pregnant. And you know what happens when you stand in anywhere and you 8 months pregnant and you say, excuse me, I got to find a restroom and I'll be right back. And it's 5 o'clock in the morning. This was back during the time.
I understand.
If you were down at the welfare office, you were in line at 5 and 6 o'clock in the morning. At 5 and 6 o'clock in the morning to use the bathroom because my husband said, I'm not going down there telling them people all my business.
Yeah.
But I had 2 other children at home.
Right.
I needed to feed. But he didn't have no problem eating the food that the food stamps bought, but he wasn't going to go down there. But I did what I needed to do to provide for my family. And it's like, soon as I have this baby, and she's going to be, I'm going to have me a nervous breakdown.
Girl, tell me
I'm
about
go.
it.
I'm not going to take a bath. I'm not going to comb my hair, and I'm just going to sit around and slobber and feel sorry. And you know what? I have spent so much time living. I have spent so much time being blessed. I have spent so much time enjoying life and my children and my grandchildren. I have yet to make an appointment for that nervous breakdown.
Girl, thank you. And I'm going to tell you that mental disorder called nervous breakdown didn't have time for you either. Because the playing field is full of people that are on that edge. And
some of them don't come back.
And well, my sister, who spent a lifetime dealing with that type of thing, she said, whatever you do, don't let your mind go. She said, because once your mind goes, that's it.
Exactly.
Do you feel that the experience as a Black woman, particularly after seeing Black Panther and Wakanda?
I want to be bald. I want to be bald, darling.
Yes.
Oh, that was a bad sister.
Yes, it was.
Wakanda forever. I've seen it 4 times.
Girl, I saw it in New York, saw it here. I was just like, But what did that do to you?
First, it just reminds you of the pride that we should have.
Yes.
As people of color. It reminds me of the value of family. It reminds me of the value of love between human beings. And it reminds me that we all should have that type of pride, that level of concern for our country, like they did for Wakanda.
Yes.
And as the general said, you know, I cannot leave because I serve that throne, no matter who's sitting on it. I serve that throne.
That was so powerful.
Wasn't that profound?
When she said that, I just said, that's exactly where it is.
So irregardless to who's on the throne, I serve that. But for her to say, I love him and I love my country. And she said, then serve your country. She said, no, I'm going to save my country.
Yes.
And right now, there are so many things going on in our lives that we need to save in the culture and the life that we love. And when you look at your children and say, is this the type of country we want to bring our kids up in? And if it's not, somebody ought to stand up and say, hold up, wait a minute. This is not our values. This is not our traditions. You're not honoring our customs, our traditions, our way of life.
Right.
And you just can't come in and pull up everything by the root, because if nothing else, we know the difference between right and wrong. I may not always agree with you and how you do things, but when it comes to integrity, there is no gray area. Either it's right or it's wrong. It's either the truth or it's a lie.
Yep.
And if you know it's not the truth, somebody said it. If you don't stand up for something,
you'll fall for anything.
You'll fall for anything.
Yep.
Okay. And we don't want to be the type of people to say, now I know that wasn't true, but I'm going to support it anyway. Somebody said, so the ends justify the means. You can do anything any kind of way because you're going to get your way. No, that's not what integrity is. That's not what being God or Christ-like is.
Right.
That's not how we were raised.
Right.
And those are not the values that our country is based upon. So how do you raise your children to know right from wrong when everything around us, even from the leadership, is saying it's okay to lie, it's okay to project things that are not true, it's okay to betray your country, it's okay to betray
your wife,
your fellow American, it's okay to betray your wife.
Yeah.
You know, all of these things are okay. So we're living in very challenging times, but we as women have always been enduring challenging times.
Isn't that the truth? Oh my gosh.
Always.
I mean, really.
Always. So
and I think black women even more so.
Oh, even more so.
I mean, even more so, because we birthed out of our wombs, and people don't like to talk about it, but the fact of the matter is that we birthed out of our wombs a nation of people that built this country.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And to see your children gone forever, to know that you didn't even have any kind of rights as a mother.
Right.
Gone, never to be seen again. And I have had white friends say, well, that was then. And I said, but we are the product of then.
Yeah.
That's reality for us.
Absolutely.
We can look back and see our grandmothers and our great-grandmothers, how they suffered and how they hung in and how they kept that hope that we would be better.
Yeah. And you don't have to go back and look too far.
When
you see the double standard, when you see, somebody said, the hypocrisy, because we know if President Obama tried to do not half of the stuff that's been done, if he would have thought about doing it,
he would
have been impeached before he could actually execute it. And so the hypocrisy of the double standard, and he was a man who loved his country. He was a man that even if you didn't agree how he was doing it, he represented all of the people, all of America. So to be able to sit here and observe and said, okay, all right, we got to hang in there till things get better, and they will get better.
I believe that.
And just remember that it's just another storm. It's another storm, and we've come through deeper and darker times.
I think we have.
Than this.
I think we have.
But I think through love, through strength, through courage, as was evident in the Black Panther, we can conquer.
My gosh.
We can conquer. We can make a comeback. We can remain strong.
Yes.
We can remain strong. God never said it would be easy.
No.
He never did say people wouldn't lie on you. He never said people wouldn't disappoint you. But we as a nation, particularly, excuse me, we as women, just need to hold on and look back at our history and look at Madam C.J. Walker,
oh my goodness,
back during that time had her convertible car and had a vision and had a dream, and when she woke up, she made that thing happen.
She did.
And it changed the world.
It did.
And my thing is, when was the last time you had a dream? When was the last time you had a vision? When was the last time you worked on that? When was the last time you acted on that? I remember after one divorce I had, I forget which mister that was, and I said, you know what, I'm going to change. I'm just going to start my whole life differently. And it starts from the moment I get up out of the bed. I would usually get out of bed on the right. Well, that morning I got on the bed out of the left.
Yes.
And I said, wow, I wonder what it would be like to drive a limousine. I think I'd be a cute limousine driver with a cute little hat and the cute little sunglasses. I immediately found a friend who had a limousine company. We went down to Union Terminal. They let me drive that limo around Union Terminal till I learned how to master it. And the next thing I knew, I was driving limos for weddings and graduations and this kind of thing. And then these two guys must have won the lottery. And they rented the limo for like 10 hours straight. They didn't have any friends, didn't have anybody. And we must have hit every low-income district between here, Dayton, and Middletown. And we would just let the kids get in and I'd ride around the corner. I would go to lunch for an hour, and I would sit at the other end of the restaurant and said, I'm at lunch, don't talk to me. And I did that, and I think that's when I got over that whole, the limo excursion
But
it was cute. I was cute. I really did. But I think that every day we have an opportunity to recreate ourselves.
Well, according to the Bible, every day is a new day.
Every day.
And it's a fresh start.
Every day.
But if we're stuck here, and this is what I share with women, because I'm very into women's empowerment, have been all my entire life. Why? Because I was a feisty little alpha female girl.
Did you say was? You still are, darling.
Oh my God, but I'm an old feisty woman.
Yeah, but that's all right. We have a whole nother crop of younger feisty women that we must pour into, darling. We must pour into. But you got to see it before you see it.
Yes.
You have to see yourself in that position. You have to see yourself being successful. You actually have to see yourself being happy.
Yes, and I think happiness, which is a precursor to joy.
Yeah.
Because happiness is transitional and comes and goes, but when you absolutely have a confidence that God loves you,
the joy of the Lord will be your strength.
Will be your
and
strength.
will take you through.
Yes.
It will take you over. And that joy is not predicated off of how much money I have.
And isn't that wonderful?
Or which husband did what he was supposed to do, didn't pay child support. It doesn't matter. And I'm so glad that even at this point in time in my life, I still believe in love. I still believe in marriage. I have not let the disappointment or the inability of people to follow through, because people will lie to you.
Oh my
God, will disappoint you, and they will sell you a whole bag of goods like somebody else in that White House. They will tell you things that they know they have no intentions of following through on. But can you survive that lie? Can you survive that disappointment?
Right.
Can you get through it enough to say, now, daughter, and you sit down with her and say, now, daughter, I know you in love today, and congratulations, and enjoy being in love. There's nothing like being in love, but baby, let me tell you something. If you live long enough, people will hurt you.
Yep.
People will say some things to you, and they won't follow through on it. And I'm not trying to throw a dash. I'm not trying to rain on your parade or anything like that. But after a lot of research, I can truly say,
in life experience,
yes, there's something wrong with all of them.
Yes.
None of them are perfect, but there's something wrong with all of us as well.
Yes.
We're not perfect.
Yes.
And once you learn that and not buy into all of the malarkey that we hear in society and on TV, and I remember when we were growing up and I used to try to be like Donna Reed. I thought when I first got married, I could wake up, put my makeup on, and send my husband off to work, put my heels on, send the kids off to school. Girl, that didn't even work for 6 months. It's like, who does that?
Exactly. Who does that?
And here, dear, here's who's in that? Who's that happy when they wake up?
Right.
Who's that happy when you clean in the toilet? They got the commercials. Hey, we've got this spick and span, and we're gonna clean. Who's that happy when you cleaning up your house?
Yeah.
I realized I don't like cleaning up.
I don't either.
And it didn't make me a bad wife. It just meant I had to make enough money to hire somebody else to do it.
And that's, again, what I've shared over the years, which is Don't do things you don't like. Work it out. I mean, for real.
Well, we didn't have a choice. We didn't
I
have an option.
understand that. We didn't
We have
have an
choices
option.
now.
Yeah.
We have choices now.
I have girlfriends that can clean houses.
I have girlfriends that can clean houses, and they love it.
And they love it. And I'm like,
that's not my gift.
Come here, come
no,
here.
that is not my gift.
No.
But it doesn't make you a bad human being.
No, it
doesn't
not.
make you a bad mother. You know, if you don't cook from scratch every night, that doesn't make you a bad person. I tell people, my husband didn't marry me because I could cook. I can cook now.
Oh, I know
I
you
can cook
can.
turkey, girl. I can cook sweet potato pies. I can do it. But I don't like to do it every day because between the radio station and between
you've
what
got
I'm
a full
doing,
plate.
I have a 10-piece show band that
yes.
we are trying to do things for in corporate events. So I don't have time to get home by X amount of time and then have dinner ready for him.
And cook you your food.
But I used to have a husband, and he used to tell me, well, I thought you would get over all of that music stuff. And he said, my bed is cold, and so is my pots and pans. I said,
we're carrying on, folks.
I said, I
we're
beg
keeping
your
it real
pardon.
Today.
I beg your
I
pardon.
I beg.
Yeah, no,
I'm turning into something unrecognizable.
I told him to get him an electric blanket, and he need to put out an ad for Betty Crocker or something.
But you know, but do you think men have also been?
They were bamboozled.
They were bamboozled too.
They were bamboozled. You know, you get your wife and you want somebody who's gonna wash your clothes, take care of your house, take care of your bed, and raise your children.
Yeah.
And so who's that?
Yeah. Who's that?
Oh, my alarm's going off over there to remind me of something else. Ignore that.
Okay, I will. I'm just saying, do we have the cathedral in the studio today?
You know, I'm at that point in time where I always leave little reminders for myself to do something, and so that was just my little alarm.
Well, that's fine.
But men have been bamboozled too. Every relationship, every marriage is different. What works for you in your marriage may not work for me in mine. So I cannot sit up and try to put this template together and say, okay, she's home every day, she's cooking dinner for her husband, and she's got the kids and they're doing this. That may not work for me. Right. And so you have to look at the individual needs of the partners of the relationship, and if that works for you, that works for you. But I can't begin to tell you, sometimes women get upset because you don't fit your husband's plate.
Oh no, it's been said to me. And like I said, I'm from Kentucky, and every woman in Kentucky can cook a chicken. Grab that chicken and pluck him and throw him in the pot and boom, and then cut him up and fry him.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't like to do that.
Right.
They're like, what's wrong with you?
Exactly.
Your mama dropped you on your head when you was a baby?
Exactly.
No, it's just that I know some women that can seriously do chicken and do other things, but where we have to be careful is making a judgment assessment, because that's not where I'm coming from.
Exactly.
I mean, when a woman says to you, you don't come home to take care of your husband, what does that mean?
It depends on her upbringing and where she's coming from.
Okay.
So it's really a conversation that every partner should have before embarking on this partnership. Are you expecting me to prepare dinner every day? Because with all of these wonderful restaurants that we enjoy, why am I coming home to cook every day? I enjoy cooking, but I don't enjoy cooking under pressure.
Right.
I like to be able to cook where I can take my time and fix my husband his favorite meal, and then we can sit back and enjoy and maybe have some friends over. But if I don't have that luxury, if I don't have the luxury of that time, then darling, let's go. I mean, we've got 5 or 6 restaurants we can choose from, or get carry out, and I will meet you at home.
Or at worst, and I share with people, if your economic circumstances allow, there are women that'll fix food for you.
Absolutely. Box it up and bring it over to your house.
Box it up and bring it to you, and you will eat wonderfully. But my concern has been the toll that the stereotypes have taken on the hearts and souls of so many women.
Of course.
Because the expectation is expectation, societal, church, husband, that this is what you must do to fulfill a definition
of a good wife,
of a good
mother,
wife. And yet the economics that we're in today, and economics is real big with me, is that how can you expect to put all these demands on a human being? I just read an article where the average woman works 70 hours a week. She works 40 hours on her job, and then another 30 hours doing all the things that are, quote, defined to make her a good wife. I just read this article. I think it was the New York Times.
Of course.
But I said to myself, anybody that's doing 70 hours is a cadaver.
Is a tired individual.
Tired. How can she?
Simply
and then he
tired.
wants bed service.
Of course.
Of course. Rubber doll time.
It is. He's tired, but you know, it's the same manipulation that comes with this is the December. So start preparing for that day, that deadline, to get all of the gifts that you have to get for all the people. It's manipulation. And once I realized I was being manipulated, it's like, oh no, I will gift all year round. And I will gift to those that I love.
Yes.
But you will not put me on a deadline and put that stress on me so that I do that. So my grandkids know. Nana may get some extra stuff after Christmas when it goes on sale, but Nana is going to give all year round. Now I'm going to come to your house and we're going to enjoy Christmas dinner and things like that. But I refuse to be manipulated, corporately manipulated, that I'm just going to add to your bottom line. And you keep coming up with a holiday because you want me to feel the burden of being a good mother. And if I don't get this for my children, I'm not a good mother.
Right.
And if I don't get that from my husband, I'm not a good wife. And if no, malarkey. We're gonna provide for our family. I'm gonna get you something. We're gonna eat. We're gonna be happy. But I am not going to be manipulated like that.
Well, I really believe, though, that this younger generation of women need to hear this.
Absolutely.
They need to hear this because the race to get a man, then it becomes a race to get a husband, and then it is to fulfill all these things
that society says you were supposed to feel to be complete.
Yeah, and again, I have to define who is society. Well, society is basically hierarchical and male-dominated.
Yeah, of course.
So it's about fulfilling those needs. Now, we're into a real shift. And I'm sure you're aware of it, the Me Too movement.
Of course.
Of course, which is for black women. That's not a new story.
That's not a new story at all. When I was reading the history of the Black Federated Club of Cincinnati, and how that originated in the 1940s, and it all came about because someone in the news said black women were only good for two things: cleaning up the house and having sex.
Yeah.
So that brought about this movement to educate young black women to say these are the options that you have. You're young, gifted, beautiful, and black. But until we get comfortable trumpeting our own abilities and our own giftings, we're going to be dependent on other people to do it for us.
Right.
Stop that. And when we do our Friday chats,
say that to your viewers. Stop that.
Stop that. Just stop that. When we talk on our chat, last Friday, one of the things that we talked about was, as a woman, if you never get married, you're still wonderful, and you are still complete, and you still bring something to the planet. If you never have children, you are still wonderful, you're still complete, and you still bring something to the planet. Stop allowing. That's what we do.
Right.
Stop allowing
Yeah.
people to speak that into your life. Well, what's wrong with you? You 30, you're not married yet.
Right.
You 42 and you've never been married.
Right.
And I'm happy. I have women. I am not married and I'm happy.
It's okay.
So now we feel the need to put this disclaimer, I'm single and I'm happy.
Yes.
Because we've allowed people to make us feel, our parents, to make us feel that you are a career woman, honey. You know that clock is ticking. Don't you think it's time to start a family?
I've been there. I've been there.
Stop allowing people to dictate to you.
I'm serious. But the church, and I have to say that because I came out of that traditional.
I'm in there every day.
I know that you're in there
but
every
day. But you know they don't welcome me like they. I'm not welcomed everywhere because I bring the truth.
Which is, you know,
I
you
bring
got,
the truth.
look at this. Look at this sadness.
It is. It really
Tell me,
is.
what do you think distinguishes, because I had a white woman who I love, Ginger was on earlier. What do you think distinguishes the cultural experience of black women from the cultural experience of white women? Because even with the Black Panther, that was a black cultural experience with a ton of black women. What do you think distinguishes our experiences?
Basically, the way that we've been raised.
Okay.
What we've witnessed our mothers going through.
What we've witnessed our mothers going through.
Other women. I remember at 15 when I was with the band and we were having rehearsal, and one of the young ladies was an airline stewardess, and she came into one of our rehearsals, and the guys were running around getting her a chair and blah blah blah. Let's get her a chair. Can I get you some water? Can I get? And she was fine. She was fine. But you know, back then, what were we talking about? Over 40 years ago, if you were airline stewardess and you were black,
oh come on, you were
fine. You were fine. So when she came in, talk about a brick house. So when she came in, the guys were just all over themselves, and they were trying to get her a chair. And they were, you want a Pepsi? You want something to drink? She's like, nah. And it's like, how did she get power like that? I like that power. I like that power. Note to myself, have power like that one day.
Yes.
But then when I was 12, and I would notice this young lady who lived across the street from us, and she had 4 children. And every Friday, her husband would stumble up the street, usually intoxicated. Every Friday.
Every Friday.
Every Friday. He would stumble up the street, and this was back when everybody had their windows open during the summertime.
And you could hear, because we didn't have air
everything. We didn't have air conditioning.
Fans.
So anything that was going on in your house, every time your mama would beat your butt, everybody would be outside and be laughing. So when you come outside, they're going to tease you. Well, the same thing applied to women who were being physically abused. So he would stumble home every Friday, and somewhere between that time he got home and 2 or 3 hours later, there would be a fight going on in their house with breaking dishes and blah, blah. And you could hear the tussling. You could hear the scuffling. You could hear the cussing going on. And then he would stumble back outside the door and stumble on back down the street. Now, even at 12, I recognize it's Friday. He's going to be stumbling at home. Why is she letting him in?
Right.
But she had 4 children.
Right. And
she didn't have a job.
And she didn't have a job. Well, I will say something that's interesting, and for those of you that are Caucasian women that may be watching, and I'll just say this by observation, that your mothers raised you with an expectation that a husband was responsible for taking care of you and his family. That was, and that you were responsible for making his life easy and simple. And I will also say that is not the story with African American women, because our lives were predicated upon the reality that we may very well be having to take care of our children alone. Comes out of slavery, period. Need you to get that, because a lot of white women do not understand why black women are so strong and this and that and the other. And I'm like, excuse me, I'm not going to get run over by a truck.
Right. But when I go into schools, and as I do the segment about history, and I do the auction block.
Oh,
and I have the kids involved in that because they think it's funny. And we have a young lady right here. She's going to be strong. She'll be able to work in your kitchen, and she'll be able to work in your fields. Can I get 50? Can I get 75? And I had white and black kids up there. And then when I finished in the whole, and I go into schools all about and they're just laughing. I said, now, would that be funny if that was your sister?
Oh, my goodness.
Would that be funny if that was your mother, who you're never going to see
again?
Would that be funny if that was your baby brother, who you're never going to see again? So our culture, our history is full of children that we've birthed and we've watched taken away from us.
Yeah.
Even today,
Even
we
today.
birth children, and they are caught up in this racket in the streets. They are caught up in this thing called drugs. They are caught up in this thing called over-policing. We're caught up in this thing where the system is set up for them to fail, and they are taking away from us. So there are a lot of things in our culture that make us strong, that make us hopeful, that make us determined not to give up because of this thing called life. And because love. Of our society. And you can't give up. You cannot give up. You can't give out. And we have a responsibility to educate women, educate our young women, and let them know you are valuable, you are important. God has gifted you with something that He hasn't given to anybody else. And I don't care how difficult it is, I don't care how challenging it is, there is a purpose for your life. They used to tell Oprah when she was in there, you know, if you weren't so dark, you know, if your nose wasn't so wide, you know, if you would lose some weight, you could do well in TV. Well, Oprah did not listen to them. Amen. And where is Oprah today? So there are some Oprahs out there. There are some PANNs. There are Michelles out there. And I don't care how difficult it is. I don't care how challenging it is. Find the joy of the Lord. Keep it moving. And don't allow them to speak the negativity. Don't allow them to even speak to you when they say you can't. Say, darling, greater is He that's in me than he who's in the world. And I can do all things through Christ. A-L-L-L-L. All things through Christ. And whenever you believe you can't, remember this show. Yes, you can.
Our time is up. I hope you all, yes. I hope you all have enjoyed this intimate dialogue with my beloved friend who's so gifted, talented, Reverend Ann Everson-Price, headquartered in Cincinnati. And
I have a website, PANNentertainment.com.
PANNentertainment.com.
You can find me on Facebook.
Yes, you can.
At Ann Everson-Price.
Yeah. And on that note, we conclude today's amazing segment of The Power of Money. Again, I'm your host, Michelle Graves. Thank you for listening in, being a part of this amazing dialogue with this remarkable woman. And I'll see you soon. God bless you and keep you.
God bless.
Bye-bye.